guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be me telling you guys all about going to the gynecologist teen girl edition. Basically me just telling you guys what to expect when you go to the gynecologist for the first time, or just like any time that you go to the gynecologist, because I know how scary it can be like in the beginning, like your first ever visit to the gynecologist. And even though I'm only 14, I am 1000% qualified to talk about this because I have actually already been to the gynecologist twice before. I went once at the end of March this year, end of March 2021, just because I was having a lot of period irregularity. Basically, I had gone 4 months without my period. Then I ended up visiting the gynecologist again, actually just last month in November 2021, because I had had my period for a year and I thought it should be regular by then, so I visited the gynecologist again. I feel like I have a lot of information to tell any of you guys. If you clicked on this video because you were like just kind of concerned about going to the gynecologist for the first time, if you have an appointment coming up and you just like want some more, I don't know, like information about going to the gynecologist, I'm totally here to give you all the information, walk you through every single step of like the second you step into the gynecologist's office to the second you leave. And if you didn't know what the definition of a gynecologist is, I actually have my computer right here for this entire video, so I can tell you guys all the stuff I wrote down about going to the gynecologist. Gynecology is basically a branch of medicine that deals with the diseases and routine physical care of the reproductive system of women or females. Basically anyone who has a female reproductive system. So yeah, I don't want to talk anymore, or like... Of course I still want to talk, but I don't want to talk about what I'm talking about right now. I want to talk all about going to the gynecologist, teen girl edition, and just tell you guys what to expect when you go to the gynecologist. So let's get into the video. So as I was saying, my personal gynecology history is I have gone twice before, and my cycle's just been really irregular. I was also feeling like my hormones were all over the place. My chest was always sore. I always had like headaches and all this weird pain even when I wasn't supposed to be ovulating or like on my actual period. So I just wanted to visit the gynecologist just to make sure everything was okay with my reproductive system. But there are so many other reasons that females will visit the gynecologist. You could be going because your periods are irregular. You just really want to like make sure that your periods are like normal irregular, not like... You also might want to go because you're having weird pain. There's just so many reasons, and sometimes you don't even have to go to the gynecologist because there's a problem that you want to get checked out. If you just want to get more comfortable sharing personal information, develop a relationship with your gynecologist, or get more information on like periods and like the whole puberty thing in general, then that's a totally valid reason to visit the gynecologist too. If you are a teen girl, and I'm assuming that you are a teen girl because this is a teen girl edition to all about visiting the gynecologist, but if you are a teen girl, then you just have to ask your parents to make you an appointment. Say something like, hey, I really feel like I want to get this problem checked out, or I just like want to know more about this. I'd really love if you could like find me a gynecologist. Someone keep count of how many times I say gynecologist in this video. Anyway, everyone's doctor is different. Every single gynecology office is different, and everyone's experience is different. What I'm going to be telling you in this video is just my personal experience with gynecology and like going to the gynecologist, and it should be a pretty general experience because I'm pretty sure that most gynecology offices follow like the same protocol that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So as I said, in this video I'm just going to be walking you through every single step. So starting with when you first get to the gynecology office, you will probably be going there with your parent if you are under 18 years old, and they will actually most likely ask you if you are comfortable having your parent or guardian in the room with you. Now, it all depends on your relationship with them, but just remember that your parent or guardian is someone who should know a lot of your health information and who should always be there for you. I always say yes, that I am comfortable with having my mom in the room, but if you're not comfortable with it and like you don't want to offend your mom or like whoever's taking you or anything like that, then you can just talk about it before. Say like, this is just kind of a private thing for me, not to be rude or anything like that. I would just feel more comfortable if you weren't in the room, just so I can talk more openly with the gynecologist. You can even tell whoever's taking you that you'll tell them all about the appointment like after the appointment is over. But it's so important when you're visiting a gynecologist to do whatever is most comfortable for you and whatever will allow you to say like the most open and honest information to the gynecologist. You can always just tell the front receptionist if you are comfortable or not. Something else that's kind of funny that I wanted to bring up about like when you're in the waiting room, like when you first get there, is you might see a lot of pregnant women, because a lot of the time gynecology offices are connected with obstetrics offices, and basically an obstetrician is like a pregnancy and baby doctor, and most gynecologists are OBGYNs, which means they're both obstetricians and gynecologists, but you like don't have to worry about that. I just think it's kind of funny because like whenever I'm at that doctor, I always see like a ton of pregnant women there. A lot of the time when you first get there, they will ask you to leave a urine sample, and if you have never done this before, it's basically where you pee in a cup. This is basically so that they can test your pee for like any infections, or if you're pregnant, but you really should not have to worry about that. It's just really important that they have that kind of information. They'll usually give you the cup until you go to the bathroom, and they'll give you some sterile wipes to wipe that area like before you pee, just to wipe away like any bacteria you have so that the results aren't inaccurate. So make sure to wipe really, really well, and then catch your stream of like urine just about a second after you start peeing, and that's the way to get the most accurate sample. And then just give the sample to them. You might still have to wait longer after like you give the urine sample. It's honestly different for every single gynecology office. Also, while you're waiting, they might take your weight and your height. Sometimes they give you the option to actually not look at the number on the scale, kind of face away from the number on the scale if you're like not comfortable looking at your weight. And if they don't give you the option, you can always ask just yourself to bring it up, like, can I face away please? And also when they take your height, that is also really important, just to see like if your growth is on track. And it's actually really fun to get my height taken. I always love it because like I get to see how much I've grown. So then when you go into the actual exam room, it'll be an exam table. You might see places to like put your feet up. I think that these are called stirrups. Just don't be scared. Like, just don't walk into the exam office thinking,
oh my god, all this stuff is like so scary and foreign. I like don't like any of it.
It's all there just to make sure that you are medically healthy, so really don't feel scared. I was like really scared in the beginning. I mean, it's so scary to go for the very first time to like any new kind of doctor, especially like one discussing your reproductive system. So just please take it from me, there's nothing to be scared of. They will probably give you one of those like medical gowns to change into, like a paper gown or something like that, or a cloth gown, and tell you to take off all your clothes under that. You might be able to keep on your underwear, but you might also be asked to take that off too. And I was honestly kind of scared about this because whenever I went to like my physical appointment, like my physical exam for my pediatrician, I never had to like take off all my clothes. But you do need to do this at the gynecologist. It's all for medical purposes, just so that it's easier to examine you. I would actually recommend taking like a big purse or like a bag or something to have a clean place to put your clothes like in until the appointment's over and you can put them back on. And don't worry, the exam table will always have fresh paper on it, so you don't have to worry about like sitting on it bare or anything like that, if you know what I'm talking about. So then when the nurse comes in, so the nurse usually comes in before the doctor. It's usually like this for like a lot of medical places, not just a gynecologist. And this is just to get some medical history. They'll probably ask you to confirm your birthday, maybe like confirm your age. They'll also ask you if you have any allergies to like any medication, or if you've been to the gynecologist before, ask if you've developed any new allergies since then. They will also ask you like if you're on any current medications. They will also probably take your blood pressure, maybe your oxygen. This is all just routine stuff so they can get like a better sense of your health history. And not just physical questions, but they might also just ask you like emotional questions, like how's school been going for you, or how's your mental state been? Just answer all of these questions truthfully. I promise that gynecologists are just there to help, and they are not there to like hurt or make you feel uncomfortable. Just be completely open and honest. I promise you, no doctor is going to judge you for being open about that kind of stuff if you are there for that kind of stuff. And if they are judgmental about that, then I think you should file a complaint. This is also something that I kind of just wanted to like bring up briefly, but you might be a little scared about them asking you if you are, let's just say, engaging in adult activities. And you can always ask your parent or guardian to step out of the room if you don't feel comfortable sharing this kind of information in front of them. But again, please be honest and provide your doctor with the most accurate and like truthful information, because they really need to know this. You can even tell them, you know, this makes me a little uncomfortable to say. This is like my first time really talking openly about this kind of stuff. But if you're someone like me who has literally never even held hands with anyone, then you do not need to worry about this kind of question. So then when the doctor comes in, and I bet this is like the part that you're like actually clicking on this video for. I mean, it's the main like examination part. If you've seen this doctor before, then they will probably ask you how you've been. If you've never seen them before, they're probably gonna like introduce themselves to you, like ask you kind of about yourself, and then they're going to ask you what you came in for. And this is honestly the most important part, because there's usually a reason that you're coming in if you're a teenager. I mean, you can just go to get some information, but there is usually a reason. At least that's how it was for me. I went because of irregularity and pain and just feeling like my hormones were all over the place, but you could be going for a variety of reasons. There's so many different reasons to visit the gynecologist. Some of the common ones when you're a teenager are extreme irregularity, extreme pain, weird discharge, feeling really extreme PMS or period symptoms, wanting to talk about birth control, wanting to talk about if you think you might have a reproductive issue or like health problem, wanting to talk about any current reproductive health issues or problems that you currently have, or just feeling like something just isn't right with your reproductive system and you just want to talk about it. And there are so many other reasons that are just going to be individual and private to you. Just make sure to tell them exactly what has been going on, because it is so important if you want like an accurate examination and accurate diagnosis. I actually sometimes even go into the notes app before I see the gynecologist and I write down every single thing that I want to tell the gynecologist. I'll even take pictures of like my period tracker app or the physical calendar that I keep track of my periods on, just so they can see like what my cycle has been like. So after you tell them what has been going on, in my personal experience, there are two things that they usually do to determine if there is a problem. And those two things are ultrasound and blood work. Ultrasounds are to check for any like abnormal things in your whole female reproductive system, all your female reproductive organs, to check for cysts, fibroids, polyps, to see if you have like any reproductive issue, for example, polycystic ovarian syndrome or endometriosis. I actually wanted to tell you about the kinds of ultrasounds that they do at gynecology offices, because before I went for the first time, I had no idea idea that there were two kinds. If you know about ultrasounds, then the first kind of ultrasound that they typically do is the kind of ultrasound that you think of when you think of ultrasounds. I'm pretty sure that the name for it is a transabdominal ultrasound, and this is basically where they take the ultrasound wand and then they put some warm sticky gel on it and they rub the wand over your whole like lower abdomen area. They might press pretty hard. It probably won't feel painful. It might feel like a lot of pressure. It's not painful at all. This type of ultrasound, it's actually really cool to like look on the monitor and see all the parts of your reproductive system. I was completely fascinated when they did this on me. The gynecologist pointed out where my ovaries were and I got to see like my uterus and everything. It was just so cool to like see what's inside of my body. The gynecologist might take measurements of everything, just make sure and check like everything's normal. And if the gynecologist is like not telling you what everything is, then you can say like, hey, I'm curious, can you point out what everything is on this screen? Now this next kind of ultrasound, and I'm not saying that these are the only two kinds of ultrasounds because it might be different for your gynecology office. They might do other kinds of ultrasounds wherever you go to get checked out, like at the gynecologist. This next kind of ultrasound I've had before, only once before, and I am not going to sugarcoat it for you at all. It is called the transvaginal ultrasound, and it is basically exactly what it sounds like. It basically goes up there. A lot of gynecologists don't want to do this on teenagers because it might be like scary for them or painful for them, but if the gynecologist suspects that something really is wrong, or like you just want to relax and know that nothing is wrong, this is a very accurate way of seeing all of your internal organs and getting a really accurate examination. Since I'm not a doctor, I will link some articles down below about the whole process of a transvaginal ultrasound, since all I know is from my own personal experience of like being the patient. It does depend on the person, but for me it was very painful. I don't want to scare you away from it though, because it is very important to get, especially if something like actually might be wrong and the doctor needs to check it out, but it will hurt for the average person. I mean, it even says on all these websites that like it will have a little discomfort. Of course, it totally depends on the person, it totally depends on your body, but personally for me, I actually had to ask the gynecologist to like take it out of me before she went up farther because it just hurts so bad for me. But I don't want to scare you away from it. I mean, something that I would try next time is really just relaxing and taking nice deep breaths and just like picturing a nice peaceful scene, because I was really nervous and kind of like clenched up, and I feel like that was a huge contributor to the pain that I was experiencing. I wish I could have relaxed more. I feel like then it wouldn't have hurt as much, and I know it's kind of like contradictory to like relax when something really scary is happening, but it will help to minimize any discomfort or pain that you might have like when it's going up there. And if you just let the doctor do their job unlike I did, then you will get really accurate results. If it really does hurt though, don't feel bad about telling the doctor, because they will take it out and then maybe try again, or they'll just take it out and like not put it back in. Anyway, those are the two kinds of ultrasounds that they will do. They will probably also take some blood work to check your hormone levels, like your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, all those reproductive hormones, just to check that everything is at like the right level that it should be. It's just to like, as I said, check your hormone levels, check if there's like any reproductive issues that you should be aware of. That's like making your periods irregular, or like making you feel pain, or like weird hormone problems like throughout your cycle. It's just like any needle, it will probably hurt for a couple seconds. If you get a good phlebotomist, which is someone who draws blood, then it shouldn't hurt too bad. When they do the needle, I usually clench my stomach muscles like a lot because it just helps me manage the pain. It also helps to kind of look away and like not actually look at your arm like when they're taking the blood, because then you don't have to see the needle going in and like being taken out and like all the blood coming out. I just like looking away personally. It just helps like minimize the pain. I also actually wanted to tell you that when you are in the room with the gynecologist, they might also do a breast exam. Since gynecologists deal with like all female reproductive stuff, they might do this just to make sure that everything is how it should be. You'll have to lie down on the exam table and raise your arm on the side that they are examining on. Just relax. It might be a little embarrassing, and honestly all of it might be like really embarrassing. Like when I visited the gynecologist, like when they like looked up there and like did the ultrasound up there, I was just kind of uncomfortable and like weirded out, like talking so openly and like being open with my body. And I feel like a lot of it is like the horrible stigma around the female reproductive system, around periods, but it's so normal. And one of the main goals with my channel is to really like remove that stigma from normal bodily processes and functions. All of it is just normal bodily stuff. It's actually a sign that you're healthy, so there is no reason to feel ashamed. Also, these doctors, like gynecologists, they see this kind of stuff every single day. It's literally their job, so it's not like this is weird for them. But anyway, after all of their examination stuff is done, you will just go home. If anything is wrong, like any of the results, like ultrasound results or blood work results seem a little abnormal, they will probably ask you to come back in for a follow-up appointment, or they'll like call you, schedule another appointment just so you can talk about treatment options. And yeah, there is just no reason to feel ashamed for visiting a doctor who deals with this kind of normal stuff every single day. It will be a little embarrassing like the first time that you go, and that is so completely normal, but the more comfortable you get about talking about this kind of stuff, and the more comfortable you get like as you keep going to the gynecologist, then the less weird and awkward it will be. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I really hope that this video was able to help you, because honestly that was like the main goal of this video, to really help anyone out there who's kind of like skeptical or nervous about going to the gynecologist. Honestly, I wish I had like this kind of video to watch before I went to the gynecologist for the first time, because I was really weirded out. Even though my mom prepared me and like the gynecologist I went to was really sweet and nice about it, it was just kind of weird going for the first time and like talking about my female reproductive system so openly. So I really hope that this video like kind of eased your worries about going to the gynecologist for the first time and like just kind of showed you what to expect so you don't feel as scared. Usually there's not going to be anything wrong. I mean, I know another fear that you might have is that going to the gynecologist might reveal that something's really wrong, but most of the time everything is completely normal, and it's just like the normal irregularity that you get in the beginning of having a period. My gynecologist was actually like really nice. She walked me through the whole cycle. She taught me more about periods. She really like told me how normal it is to be irregular in the beginning, and your doctor will probably do the same thing just to like educate you and show you that everything is completely normal, and if there is something wrong, you are in great hands because gynecologists know exactly how to deal with any problem that you might have. So yeah, before you leave, please like this video, and if you made it to the end of this video, comment down below gynecologist, because honestly I feel like I said that word like a million times in this video. And also please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because if you didn't know already, I do so many other like female period related videos, so if you're interested in some of those, definitely subscribe, and I will also link some down below that I think you might like if you enjoyed this video. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching it. Good luck at the gynecologist, and I love you guys. Bye!